Hello and welcome to our channel. On our channel we're going to talk about current events and news, and I'm sure you'll have noticed in the news over the last week or so, possibly 2 weeks, there's been a lot of talk about children going hungry during school holidays. So I'm going to show you how you can feed 2 children for a week for a £5. So we're off to the supermarket and we're going to spend £5, which I've got here, on some ingredients for 2 children's lunches for a week. And since it's the holidays, you don't just have to rely on sandwiches for the week. We can be a little bit more adventurous. So we're going to buy a few bits and pieces, I'm going to cook them up, and I'm going to show you how to do it, and it's going to be great. So we're back from the supermarket now. We've spent our £5 and I think we've spent it well. Let's have a look what we've got. So we've bought a packet of mince, 500 grams for £1.50. We've got 2.5 kilograms of potatoes, which cost 80p, and they're going to go really far. There's some nice big ones in there. We've got some good meal ideas for those. We've got a kilogram bag of rice. Again, very versatile. We'll do something interesting with that. We have got a clove of garlic. We have got a nice red pepper, lovely and fresh. We've got a big onion. We have got a nice big bag of carrots. I think it's a kilogram of carrots. But that was 35p, so that's going to go far again. It's going to do a lot of meals. And we even had change out of our £5 because we only spent £4.99, so always saving. And to go with all that, we've got a few tins here. We've got a tin of peas, a tin of beans, and 2 tins of plum tomatoes, which we're probably going to end up squishing up to make something interesting with. But it'll all go together nicely. So the first meal we're going to make is a chili con carne. It's going to be a child-friendly chili, which may or may not have chilies in it. If you've got chili or chili powder in your cupboards, then feel free to use that. If you haven't, you can still make this dish without the chili. The ingredients we're using for this chili con carne is going to be half of the mince that we bought at the shop. We're going to use the red pepper, half the onion, 4 cloves of garlic, which is going to give it a really nice flavour. We're going to use a bit of carrots, which we've chopped up nice and fine, just to bulk things out a little bit. We're going to pop in maybe a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of baked beans. We'll see what it looks like. And we're going to use the plum tomatoes in there as well. And if you have it to hand, if you have it in the cupboard, we can use paprika or chili powder and chili powder. Or if you've got a bit of actual chili left over, we could even use that. So we've got like a little tiny stub of chili here, which I might chuck into the chili, I might not. We'll see what happens when I make it. And to go with the chili, we're going to use the rice, which, I mean, once you've got your pot of chili done, you just portion this rice out and cook it up as you need it. So we've got the onion in the pan here, just softening up a little bit, browning the edges. The next ingredient going here is the meat, and the clove of garlic. The next bit is the meat, which we're going to just brown up a little bit. Now, a little assumption we're making here is that everybody will have salt and pepper in the house. So I'm going to pop some salt and pepper in here, not too much, just a little bit to give it a bit of flavour. And we're just going to leave this meat to brown, turning occasionally. So the meat's cooking away here, we're browning it, we're sealing in the flavours. I'm going to pop a little bit of pepper in, a little bit extra. And the next thing to go in here is the small bits of carrot. There we go. So it'll take a little while to cook and soften up. We're just going to let it go. So as you can see, the meat's starting to brown nicely. We're getting some lovely coloration on there. The potatoes are starting to cook. We've got some nice brown bits on some of the sides of the onions where it's starting to caramelise. It's going to be really good. So now that the meat's almost done, we're going to grab our peppers. The peppers are going to go in here, like that. Stir this around and cook up. This is also the stage where, if you've got it, I would say pop in a little bit of chili powder, which I'm going to do now. Just a little bit, not too much. But like I say, you don't need this in here. It just obviously gives it a chili flavour. But your children might not even like chili. They might not like spicy. So if you've got it, put it in. If you want to. If you haven't, don't bother. The next thing I want to pop in is a little bit of paprika. Again, if you've got it, pop it in there. If not, don't bother. You don't need it. Just a little bit. A little sprinkling. And we're going to stir this around. Let those flavours combine. The next thing to go in here is our roughly chopped garlic cloves. Pop them in, give it a good stir, and let it cook away. Just like that. To get that flavour mixed around. So the garlic's starting to cook in here now. We're getting all the flavours out there. It's starting to smell really good actually. We're starting to get that look of chili con carne. The next thing I'm going to do is pop in the plum tomatoes. Now we bought plum tomatoes because they're a little bit cheaper than the chopped tomatoes in the shop. But if you've got chopped tomatoes, just use chopped tomatoes. Plum tomatoes are going to go in. We're going to smush them up a little bit. Just to give it that plum, give it that nice tomato flavour. Everything's going around here. Look, as you can see, it is definitely starting to look a bit like chili con carne. And it's going to taste delicious. Our chili's bubbling away nicely now. It's looking really good. Smells delicious. It's a very nice and nutritious meal here. We're going to pop in our next ingredient, which is going to be some baked beans. Just going to pop 2 and a bit tablespoons. Give it a nice stir. And here we are. That's looking good. So you can see this dish is really easy to prepare, really quick to prepare, and most importantly, really cheap to prepare. I mean, you're talking less than £2 I would think for this meal. And this is going to make 4 dinners, 4 lunches. So this is it now. This is our chili con carne cooked and ready for serving up. This is going to make at least 4 portions for children. You have this with rice, it'll be lovely, it'll be nutritious, and it's cheap. So I've now cooked up a batch of rice. That's 75 grams. That's enough for, it's an adult's portion really, so you could even use less than that if you've got younger children. I've given this another blast through, so it's nice and hot. And I'm just going to serve it up here. So we've got the rice in the dish. And get a nice bit of chili there. Get a bit of everything on. And there we have it. Now to me, this looks like a delicious lunch portion. You could definitely be happy eating that. It looks good, it smells good, and it tastes good. But I'm going to put it to the taste test and let my son have a try. So with the chili con carne gone, and with it's now my son's stomach, he enjoyed it for his lunch, we're next going to make mince and mashed potato. The mince dish is going to be another simple dish, but it's going to be another nutrition-filled joy. But before we get on to the mince and potatoes, I mentioned earlier we had some nice big potatoes in that packet. And with them, we're going to make baked potatoes. Really easy. stick your oven on, really hot, 200 degrees, give or take. Pop these in for an hour or until they're soft inside, and then chop them in half and put on whatever you like. So you could use the leftover beans from the chili con carne that we made before. You could use a bit of butter if you've got some. You could even pop a little bit of cheese on there if you've got it, or you could use all three and make it really nice. The first thing I've done is chopped up a couple of potatoes and we've put them in some water, some boiling water to cook. And I'm going to make mashed potato out of them, and they're done. They're going to take about 20 minutes. Obviously, if you're making it for more people, use an extra couple of potatoes. Usually two medium-sized potatoes should feed 2 children quite nicely for mashed potato. Now, the main part of this dinner is going to be obviously the mince. So I've got a pan here with a little bit of oil in that I'm going to pop on the hob. First things first, onions in. So the onions are in, they're cooking away. I'm going to brown them up a little bit. This is a really easy one-pot meal. So the next thing that's going in here, we've got some chopped carrots and some small chopped potato pieces. That's going to go in. You want to stir it. And again, I'm going to make a little assumption here that most people will have salt and pepper in their cupboard. If you haven't, then you just have to make do without. But if you have, pop some in. We're going to let this cook away for a little while. Going quite nicely. We're going to turn it to make sure nothing sticks. Let it cook. As you can tell, I'm no chef or anything like that. It's all really basic, easy stuff. All made in my own kitchen. So the mince, this is the other half of the mince. Remember, we used half for the chili con carne. This half is going into this dish. We're going to break it up a little bit. Just like that. We're going to stir it, let it brown, and we'll let it cook, and I'll come back here in a moment. So we're cooking away here. The meat's starting to cook through. It's looking really good. Smells nice. Everything's getting cooked. And while we're doing this, the potatoes are still boiling away in the other pan. All going nicely. So this is not strictly a one-pot meal, of course. This is a two-pot meal. But since you can pretty much ignore the potatoes while they're cooking, I would go so far as to call it a one-pot meal. So anyway, we're cooking away here. It's going really good. We're going to pop a little bit of these tomatoes in. Remember, we had 2 tins. I'm not going to use it all, just half, just for a little bit extra. There we are. The next job is to set your kettle away to boil. Once your kettle's boiled, we're going to put a little bit of water in here. So we've got the kettle. We're going to pop maybe, I don't know, 200 mils of water in. See what it looks like. Give it a good stir. That looks nice. Looks really good. Now, I like quite a bit of pepper in mine. I'm going to add a little bit extra pepper. A touch of salt. I know I've already put salt in, but I do like salt. So it gives it a nice taste. There we have it. Now this, we're going to leave the stew away for about half an hour. And by that time, the potatoes will be done in the other pan. And we're going to mash them. And then we're going to serve it up. The potatoes have now finished boiling, so we're going to make up our mash. I'm going to pop them back into the pot. Move this to one side. Now if you want it, you can add butter. If you don't want to, or you haven't got it, you don't need that. It just gives it a little extra flavour. I'm going to pop a little knob of butter in there. I'm going to pop a little bit of pepper. Again, this is optional. If you haven't got pepper, it doesn't matter. If you don't like pepper, don't put it in. So mash, easy, mash it. Simply mash it up. Couldn't be simpler. We're going to keep going until all the little lumps out of it, and we're going to have some delicious mashed potatoes here. That's going to go nicely with our mince, which is still cooking away on the hob. It smells fantastic. Looks great. Okay, so that's the mince, that's the potatoes, mashed up nicely, and we're going to get ready to serve up. The potatoes ready plated up. Now I'm going to pop on the mince. Like, as you can see, this is made a substantial amount. This is easy enough for 4 servings. There we go, mince. Let's get a couple of carrots on there as well. Just like that, that's lovely. It's thickened up quite nicely, and we're going to serve this up with some of the peas that we bought, which I've just microwaved for a minute. There we have it. So we've got our mince, which has also got in onions, little potatoes, carrots, and that's served with peas and mashed potato, and that is going to be a lovely dinner. There we have it. We've made 3 nice meals. That is jagged potatoes, chili con carne, and minced potatoes. It took us maybe an hour and a half, including going and buying the ingredients. It was really easy. It was really cheap. The food looks lovely. It tastes nice. It's very, very cheap and affordable. And we've still got a lot of stuff left over. We've got nearly a full bag of potatoes left over. We've got a full bag of carrots. And we've still got a lot of garlic as well. So on your next week's shop, you wouldn't even need to buy those things. You could easily feed your children for £5 per week. That is either lunch or dinner for 2 children, Monday to Friday, and maybe even Saturday and Sunday. I hope you found this video interesting, and if you check in the description below, I will put in the recipes and the method of making these simple dishes, which I hope you're going to enjoy. Thank you.